What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast. It's Aggro and Barracuda, as per usual. I'm starting to do this thing where I change Barra's audio right at the beginning. I switch scenes, and then I'm changing... It didn't work. Watch, it's going to be the one that I changed it from. Watch, here we go. It was this one. Yep. No, okay, it wasn't that one either. At least that makes me feel better. It wouldn't be a Backliners podcast if it wasn't some weird audio things. How about now, Barry? You got? Oh yeah, we got you now. That's
Hello?
Beautiful. It's a 1 out of 3. I just know it's like a USB where you like flip it. You put a USB in one way, doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Flip it, doesn't work. Put it back the first way, works. That's exactly what it's like. Trying to get the audio to be the right one. Thanks for it's just a mystery. Thanks for being patient with us. Missing last week because of Valentine's Day. I hope you and Destiny had a very nice Valentine's Day. Barra, I don't know about you guys, but Joe and I did basically nothing, which is exactly what both of us want to be doing on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I think we watched a movie, or I watched her play more Hogwarts Legacy. Not sure which one, but both are really fun, so yeah.
There you go. Sounds like a good Valentine's Day to me.
Thank you.
It did come to our attention in our Patreon Discord, which of course you can access by going to patreon.com/backliners, that we have not gone over play-in rosters, which I was literally, I think it was Neon in our Discord. I was like, surely, I recall having a conversation about the play-ins rosters, but apparently it wasn't on the podcast. My theory is that it was on Inbound's first podcast appearance. It's the episode that's disappeared, but it was like years ago, so it wouldn't make any sense. But that's my theory, because I swear we did talk about them, but apparently we haven't. Play-ins have started. If you didn't watch today, there were some very good games. I would highly recommend you check those out. But let's talk about some of these rosters now, even though we did get a chance to see at least one of them. Or at least one of them. At least a couple of them here today. I believe we saw all but 2 teams play today.
Yeah, I watched on and off today.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way during the works day, so I was only able to watch a little bit. But was a pretty fun start to the event. Actually, Bear, I'm going to cut you off before we even talk about those. I want to get your thoughts on what it's like to not have to cook lunch and then clean lunch up. Can you give me some thoughts on that?
Probably really nice, really relaxing. Probably really healthy too. Probably cooks in about 2 minutes. Probably has a lot of different options that you can go with depending on your dietary preference. Am I close or? Yeah,
you're actually right on the money.
Really?
Yeah, you've actually nailed it. If you only would have said 34 chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options, which you were like right about to say before I cut you off.
I was about to get there.
Yeah, you really were. We're talking about Factor, of course. Factor, the best way to get a healthy, quick meal delivered straight to your door. It's got a ton of options if you're vegan or veggie or doing keto or looking for some extra different ingredients, something like that. Factor is the way to go. It is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, and start saving time with it, which is the good stuff. So, and this is important because our code has changed, so make sure you get this. Head on over to factormeals.com/backliners50 and use code BACKLINERS50 to get 50% off your first box. They were getting robbed blind by the 60% off. You missed your opportunity. This is such a good value still. It's half off, everyone. Half off. That's code BACKLINERS50 at factormeals.com/backliners50 to get 50% off your first box. Big shout out to Factor. Okay. Now on to these SPL play-in rosters. Let's talk about the team that just won a best of 3. You were streaming, so you might have missed it, but the Xibalba Storm just beat another team whose name I'm looking for real quick. It's almost here. I'm almost found it. Any second now. Here it is. It's the Kowloon Wardens. The Storm, Mando Warrior, Dingo Dial, Vi, Valo, and Malachi with Guy J as the coach. What are your thoughts on the Xibalba Storm? Because they surprised some people today, including me.
I mean, I don't really know their mid lane or jungle.
Vi, I think, is Globe. I believe.
Okay. Yeah,
someone in chat correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Vi is Globe.
Yeah, Globe's sick. Who's Valo's? Is Valo just Valo? I feel like is he just a
Um,
Smurf?
I'm
'Cause I
not
feel like I'm.
sure. Maybe I think these two played together. I know Vi, aka maybe Globe, popped off last SCC event, and I think they may have been playing with Valo as well at that time. But
Yeah, I remember.
Vi popped off last time for sure.
Yeah, I remember the Vi Valo four-letter V combination.
Yes,
Uh, so yeah, I think they're good. And then you said it was Mando and Dingo, right?
Mando, Dingo, and Malachi. Yep.
Yeah, all those players are sick. I mean, I'm a big fan of Dingo and Mando. I don't know Malachi too well, but I mean, he's good in rank, so.
Yeah, I mean, Mando played Kleedna ADC. I do think that they
Cringe.
got a little bailed out this set by, from what I was watching, from the lack of objective secure from the Wardens. But overall, I'm buying Globe stock for sure. That dude has impressed me now 2 land sets in a row. And if, even if the Storm don't make it, I think Vi should be getting on a top end SCC team to see if he can continue to improve. But look, the reality is it's a 10-team tournament. There are 2 spots. Teams like the Storm that have a lot of talent, or the Wardens, or the Valkyries, the Tanuki, like there are really not any really bad rosters. The reality is that this is going to be. I would be absolutely floored if the Jabalba Storm made it to the SPL. Absolutely floored. But it is not about. It's not always about being the team to qualify. Every chance an SCC player gets to play against SPL level talent on LAN in particular, I think they should take, because they have nothing. You can tell me if you feel differently here, Barra, but for me, SCC players, if they get steamrolled by an SPL caliber team on LAN, I never count it against them. I never think, oh, that guy didn't play well, like whatever. But if they play well and lose, or play well and win, then that's a name that I start to keep my eye on, remember, all that kind of stuff. Like, your stock can only move up except in very, extenuating circumstances, like your team's ahead, choke, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
but even then,
agree.
like, you should take every chance you get against SPL quality talent on LAN.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is also just a good place to show yourself, like you were saying, and to just kind of show that you're not nervous on LAN, because I think that's a big part for a lot of teams nowadays for picking up new players, is just being confident and being able to make plays, which I think a lot of players are from what I was seeing. I wasn't watching too in detail today, but I wanted to watch the later sets more in detail, but I'm not that big of a first day kind of guy.
Yeah, you've been around for long enough to be a weekend
Yeah,
viewer.
what was the other team they were playing?
That was the Kowlin Wardens. That's Tuba ADC, Ocean Support, Joshi Mid, El Leon Jungle, /solo, Magic Feet is the coach. I think a
So
lot of people,
good
myself
roster,
included, like, this
yeah.
team's good. Like, this team has a lot of competitive experience between Joshi, Oceans, and El Leon. Tuba as well, on the console side. Magic Feet's played in a couple lands now. Slash has been around. This team did not look. They looked pretty scattered, which can happen at these types of events. I was a little surprised at how. I think Joshi is like a really, really good player, and I did expect him to do a little more carrying, especially with the meta right now being pretty mid-centric. I thought El Leon had a really sick set, or at least really sick game 1 and game 3. Game 2, we got pretty far behind, and that can definitely happen on the map right now. But I thought it was really the side lanes for the Wardens that didn't look particularly good today. It is a double elim tournament, and this is a team that I think could surprise people, but they've got a lot to work on from what we saw today, I think.
Yeah, if they've got a lot to work on, and probably the most important tournament of the year. I mean, I think this tournament's like tied with the Worlds for importance.
I think it is almost objectively more important, like in terms of
Yeah.
how it can change the amount. Like, your full year, it's huge. You know, it is
Yep.
really, really big because it means you're moving to a new city. Like, you know, there's a whole lot on the line. A ton of pressure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely be nervous if I was playing this tournament, for sure.
I would be too. I would be
Did
too.
you want to go set by set or team by team or what?
I think just team by team is probably the way to go
Okay.
here for this one. I think team by team. And also, we're sticking to shorter podcasts this episode. Take my word for it. It's happening this time. I'm cursing it by saying it out loud. Yomi Tanuki, I'm going from the bottom up, basically from alphabetical order now. Or not alphabetical, but just from the bottom up because it started with the Storm. Shinigami, Promise. It was Spreen as their mid laner. Spreen could not secure a visa for this event, unfortunately, so they are using XD001 as their mid
That's
laner.
unlucky because Spreen's sick.
Spreen is sick. XD001
Really good.
sounds like a homie face Smurf account name. Doesn't it?
Bro, the names that we've had on land, Dude Man Bro 429.
I know. Hey,
XD001.
once upon a time, Sam for Soccer 2 was a name that we all laughed about. And for good reason, by the way.
We should still be laughing at that name, dude.
It is really good. Really bad by being really good. Grave Jungle, Runda Solo. Shinigami had a stretch where... Shinigami, a.k.a. Pringles, had a stretch where it looked like Shinigami was going to be like one of the next hot SEC ADCs, like one of the next big prospects. Feel like Shinigami has gotten a little bit less press over the last seasons, or maybe it's even less than that. But Promise as well, I think, has looked really good. I didn't get the chance to see the set, but a lot of people were tweeting about Promise playing really, really well. So I guess we don't really know the overall meta for competitive play. This is our first competitive play on the year 10 map. But if duo lane is a way to win the game, Shinigami Promise is a pretty darn good win condition over here for the Tanuki.
Yeah, I completely agree. From the times I played Promise, he's really good, and also Shinigami has that pop-off potential, kind of like Coast does, where he will just like take over a game and play really well. I don't know how often he does that in competitive, but he does it a fair amount in ranked. Hopefully he can transfer it over at, like I said, I don't know if he does or not. But yeah, I think that duo lane is sick.
Yeah, I think that their duo lane is certainly very strong. Graves been around forever.
Oh yeah, why is Grave back? He came out of nowhere.
I know. Graves been around forever. Good player. So we'll
yeah, he just disappeared for like 2 or 3 years, and then he's just back in qualies.
Here he is. Valhalla Valkyries now. Warchi, Rotwin, Ray Shadow, Worst Turtle, and Nil. Sir Choka, or Senor Choka, or SR Choka is their coach. This team did not look particularly good today. Warchi, Rotwin, a very experienced duo lane. Those are two long-standing EU SCC players. Warchi as well played in the EU SPL. Worst Turtle, another big mainstay of the EU SEC scene, but this team did not look very good today. And basically any team that didn't show something today has got to be hitting the red alarm button immediately, because you don't get that many chances, and there are some very good teams at the top end of this tournament.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't know much about EU players. I know Warchi's been around since the beginning, I think.
Yep.
And Robin's impressed me lately, but I feel like I'm not too confident on the other three. I think Worstrel's good, but I don't know that much about them, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
Wait, chat saying Warchi played Naja and Kama? Naja
Correct.
ADC?
Correct. It was not a good game.
Kama ADC?
Naja ADC got really behind early. I think they played Graves' team. They played the Tanuki, and I'm pretty sure Grave like level 2, level 3 ganked to the Naja ADC and killed them, and then
Shocker.
Naja can't play the game.
Gank the immobile assassin.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
If only we could have seen this coming.
I feel like that's trying to be too special.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Warchi's been around for this long, then he should just... I mean, I haven't played too much Season 10, being honest. Everyone's saying that hunters are bad, but from what I see, hunters are still kind of good, and I think mage ADCs are pretty good as well. So I can't really see an assassin outboxing a Aussie Destal hunter, but maybe I'm just trolling.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you if you are buying the ADC isn't very good right now propaganda. I think mage ADCs are very, very good. I think they are better than traditional ADCs right now. That being said, I think traditional ADCs are beyond playable, and I think the lack of ADC we've seen is not what I think is representative of the strongest thing you can do in Smite right now.
I just feel like whenever there's a new season or a big meta change, people always go to these extremes, and then we always come back to the middle.
Yep. I mean, hey, there is a significant payoff to finding something broken that is not traditional in a tournament like this, right? Like, it is good to be asking those questions, like questioning the norms, but you don't have a ton of time to play with in a tournament like this. That's what scrims are for.
Yeah, I feel like you just play like comfort picks or like what you yourself are good with, like
Yeah.
and just like meta is not defined right now. It's not established by glancing over the picks and bans of each team outside of mage ADCs, in my opinion. I do think like Ducky's Vamana looked really good, so that might be something that is actually strong, but also it's Vamana, so no CC, obviously, and I don't think teams are really buying Sunder into him either.
Yeah.
I from all of my ADC games, I probably played like 30 or 40 Season 10 games. They don't seem bad. I don't know. Maybe scrims are different.
Maybe.
But, yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? I mean, Zapman tweeted that ADCs are balanced right now, so they can't be that bad.
Okay, if Zap's tweeting they're balanced, that means ADC
they're
is
probably
OP.
busted. Right, they're probably busted. Right, exactly. So it might be a little copium from all you ADCs mains. That all I'm saying. Are tanks good right now? Of course. No one's. Why do I have to qualify it? They're good. That's all I'm saying.
All right, next team.
Next team. Tartarus Titans. In my Zen ADC, dashboard support, Nehu mid, Dame jungle, Delny solo. This team looked good today. Zen looked good in the Coast matchup, but this team did not end up winning their matchup up against a very, very strong Eldritch Hounds team.
Yeah, Zen looked good. Dame was also camping that lane. I think that was. I think I actually watched a decent amount of this set. Dashboard looked really good in lane, but out of lane seemed a little lost sometimes, or just a little confused. There was one time he plucked behind 4 people at gold. I mean, obviously, I think he knows that's bad, but watching that from a top-down perspective looked even worse. Yeah, I think that team's really good. And I think there was one time that they just like went to gold. They did the same thing we did against Kings. I think they went to gold and the other team went to fire, or like did pyro and fire, and then they just blew the game out after that. I don't think their drafts were bad either. From what I'm remembering, I don't think either team's drafts were bad. But yeah, I think that team is sick, and I think that they do have a decent chance of qualifying.
Yeah, I would say outside chance, but it's not non-existent. This team has some talent, but Dame had some moments that looked really good, some moments that looked a little weak. Delny, as you said, Dame was camping duo. Delny didn't get a lot of help over on the solo side, and so Ducky was able to kind of do whatever he wanted over there.
Yeah, they were just trading ults. Like, maybe he would Guan ult him, slice, Vamana ult, Ducky would be under his tower, or like hitting something in his ult, and that's just solely like, this guy's pressing 4, so I'm gonna press 4, and then I'm not gonna worry about if the jungler's here or not. So yeah,
that's that is kind of the way it be. But Titans did not get their win today. They are in the lower side of the bracket. Next up, the Athenian Sages, Wowie ADC, Privative Support, Jengaru mid, Short Fuse jungle, Remakami solo lane, and Teepers as the coach. This team, who did they play today? They played the Scorpions, I believe, which is the next team that we'll talk about. But I believe the Sages did not have a particularly great performance.
Yeah, I don't think they played well. I didn't get to watch this set. I think I was playing like 2 long matches. But I don't think... I think I listened to this set more, but I don't think the casters were being too nice to their team. Not like roasting them or anything about it.
Okay, yeah. Was that like the casters were like calling them out when they shouldn't have been, or like they just weren't doing anything to get praised more
I think they just weren't doing anything to get praised, honestly, because I think that they were saying like they normally look way better than they are right now, basically.
Sure. Which I think is probably pretty fair to say. Jangara looks like he had a pretty good game 1 at the very least. Played Yu Huang mid, did 43k damage. That's a lot. Streak Up did 51k damage on Tiamat mid, so that is even more.
It's actually crazy. Streak Up swapped to mid.
Yeah, Streak Up's a really good player. Streak Up's a really good player, and mid and ADC are not that different when it comes to team fighting. Mid is just kind of harder ADC in team fights, you see.
Yeah, you have to sit behind a wall when I get gone on.
Right. Well, maybe you get gone on, but you know.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't have.
I should be behind the wall as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You just get to hold your button. You just get to hold your damage, and it comes out at 2.5x. A second.
And I like 1,000 damage a shot. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
All the time.
But yeah, Tiamat, the proc build definitely getting a lot of discussion right now.
Was this the set where they had a really single target draft? It was like Kronos, Rom, Merc, Faf, and like an Odin. I think I hated that draft.
Yes, Kronos, Faf, Odin, Merc, Rom. Yep, man, that was good. That was good, Barry.
I absolutely hate that draft. Like,
yeah, this draft stinks.
Yeah, you can kill an objective. Congratulations, but there's like 20 other minutes to a game, like, and you want like a circle at least. Like, I mean, granted, you have Odin cage, but what are you setting up for?
Yeah, it's like I've got him caged. Everyone else on your team, okay.
I'm autoing. I'm autoing. I'm doing the exact same thing I was doing right before you caged. I'm just gonna keep auto attacking.
I'm just an Odin hater, man. I think that god is not very good. I would not be picking Odin. I know Odin was like, people were like, oh, Odin's going to be good at Worlds or like right around Worlds time. And I was like, for real? Odin? Like, are we talking about the same god? I really don't think Odin is very strong, personally. I don't even know what his stats are like. Maybe his stats are actually insane and he's winning a lot of games, but
I just think other gods do his job better. And I think he was good back in the day when it was like Odin Zeus combo, like Odin Opwash combo, like these big AoE mages, and people were out of position dying inside the cage, or you were getting a lot of cage value.
Yeah,
I feel like those situations aren't too common anymore. I do think like Odin jungle and Odin support can have some very little viability sometimes. Depends on the meta. Odin solo as well. I think they're all on the same viability level. I just think their team comp needs to lose so hard to Odin that your team comp doesn't matter, and Odin is the best possible pick there. I think that's when Odin's actually good.
I agree. They picked it into Yamoja, Sol, Thor, Herc. So like Odin's like okay. What? He's pretty good into the 2 tanks, like Herc, Yamoja. Like don't deal with Odin.
I don't even think he's good into Herc.
Yeah.
I feel like if that Herc has the speed breastplate, he's pressing 3 and just zooming around. Like, or you're caging a tank and trying to burst a tank with a dash. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, not a fan of the Odin pick, basically ever. So that's, but that's kind of getting into the specifics, I suppose, of the Athenian stages. Next team is the Aru Scorpions, is a team that defeated them. Davey, Preds, Streak Up, Sarpe, Kana, and Kermikale as their coach. As mentioned, Streak Up, former Beast ADC, now looking like a potential Beast in mid. Sarpe, very good jungler. Preds has looked good in support. Davey, I think, is their weakest link on this team, and that's not a shot at him necessarily, but it is just if the Scorpions... Because this team has a legitimate chance of... This is the first team I think we're talking about with a better than outside chance of qualifying. the Scorpions need to make sure that Davey is able to do his job in the team fights. But if Davey pops off this LAN, this team is a legitimate contender. But if you look at Davey's track record versus guys like at the top 3 teams of Coast, Dudeman, and Stewart, it's a pretty big gap in their resumes. And just in the eye test so far, but maybe he's got it figured out here in year 10. You never know.
Yeah, I think that roster is definitely good enough to qualify, just based off of like history. But I feel like I'll say that about a lot of teams because that's kind of just how I feel. I kind of feel like a lot of teams can qualify to top 2 at this LAN because the meta is so undefined. I feel like you could be probably the worst team here mechanically and still win if you just stick to your strategies well enough and just play what your guys are actually good at. Instead of like trying to invent the meta or trying to like come up with some crazy strategy, I feel like you just play what you're actually good at. And I just feel like if the meta is not defined, you just play what you're good at.
Sure.
I feel like it's simple as that.
I think the Scorpions, if they can play around mid and solo side, I think Kana is an absolute beast.
Yeah, Kana's disgusting.
And Sarpei, I think, is really, really good. Streak Up is obviously great. I think the Scorpions playing off the, outside of duo lane is the move. And if that what becomes the LAN meta, they're in a great position because Streak Up, Sarpei, Kana is nearly as strong as any other mid to right side of the map in the tournament, which is saying a lot because there are some very strong right side of the maps, including that of the Elder Challenge. Vaporish, Coast, Quig, Benny Q, Oath, Ducky, and El Chuckles as their coach. This team, I think it's fair to say, 10 teams total at this tournament, 2 spots. It does, the Scorpions are the dark horse. Otherwise, it feels to me like a 3-team race outside of the Scorpions. And it is Hounds, Gladiators, and Wargs. The Hounds are the first of those 3 juggernauts. What do you have any major concerns about this team's ability to qualify?
For Hounds?
Yes.
Against the top 2, yes. I think Coast showed he is very gankable today. In a bad way. So I don't know if he will just be playing safe from now on or trying to fight less, but Coast, in my opinion, playstyle is just jamming his dent in the 1v1. And I feel like just from what I was seeing, the junglers can kind of be anywhere on the map at any point in time, just based off of clear and mobility. So I don't really think that's a 1v1 ADC meta right now. So I think Coast needs to kind of adapt his playstyle to what's actually happening and not put his ego in check, but play a little smarter.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him play in a way that is not super gankable. I don't think he played gankable at all at Worlds, really. Like, he played really, really tight.
Different meta.
Yeah, different meta. And you got to be able to adjust, and whether
also
it's...
Twig is not a dual lane ganker.
Yeah, fair enough. So definitely want to see that get cleaned up. You're right that you don't have to worry about Twig roaming over there at any point. I think I do also have some concern about how this team will perform if they are falling behind, whether it be in game or in a set.
Yeah.
If they get crushed game 1, how does this team bounce back super well? That has not been something that throughout their careers, Oath or Benny have been super well known for, is being able to bounce back well. It's a new team environment, new year. I think that everyone is starting with a somewhat blank slate, so you hope that they can get there. And having Chuckles, an experienced coach that worked on a lot of teams that explicitly were good at coming back from behind. SK, PK, both of their world championship runs were with Chuckles as the coach. So I think that that's pretty key to them and could be a big factor. But if this team gets a lead, they will kind of crush you with it better than almost any other team in this tournament really will. It's just a matter of if you're going to make it to the SPL, chances are you're going to be behind in some games and behind in a set, and they got to be able to stay ready to go in those moments.
Yeah, I would assume that's not too much of a liability on this LAN. I think people should be trying their hardest to have a positive mental, but based off of history, it might come into play anyways, unfortunately.
Yeah. That do be how it goes.
Also, I do think Ducky is cracked right now. So
Ducky's playing really good Smite. Ducky is playing really good Smite.
I think they should just play through Ducky.
I agree. I agree.
Not saying like, oh, Coast got ganked a few times, never played through Coast lane, but I think Ducky, with the build he was going, and with how unkillable he was, kind of just seems like if you're going to have a rotating Solon or come to that gold free fight with that build, you can't really lose. So obviously don't throw Coast to the wolves, and just kind of like let him get eaten, but maybe look for a few more ganks in solo side.
Yeah, I think Ducky looked like the player who was most comfortable with what their game plan was individually today. Which, small sample size, all that kind of stuff, but Ducky looked extraordinarily comfortable with his game plan and picked according to it, built according to it, played according to it. And that is the mark of a very good veteran player. So excited to see what Ducky is going to continue to bring. I'm also quite excited to bring you a brand new sponsor here on the Backliners podcast. And this is one that I actually already have for years been using. And so I'm excited to let you all know that today's episode of the Backliners is sponsored by Honey, the easiest way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Look, Honey, chat, dear listener, you listen to the podcast, and every single week you hear me struggle with getting Bera's audio right, or some other very simple to fix task that I seemingly cannot figure out. You know that I am not a particularly smart man through this evidence. That's why you should trust me when I tell you that Honey is so easy that even I can do it. It's so simple. Here's all you got to do. You put it in, you open it up, you get a free shopping tool, and here's how it works. It just scours the internet for promo codes, and whenever you're checking out, instead of Googling, whatever example I want to give, .com promo code, it does it all for you. You just have to wait for a little bit in order for Honey to search all the coupons it can find, and bam, drops it right in. That's the big thing. It's literally so easy. What did I save on? I really should have. Literally last week, Aaron was like, hey, we've got Honey as a sponsor next week. And I was like, that's awesome. I then went and bought something online. Honey saved me money. And I was like, I should remember to tell this story. And this is my version of that. It just has no specifics whatsoever, because referring back to my previous point about how I am not a particularly smart man, I've forgotten.
Yeah. So sorry. I was a little zoned out because I was going to My Honey, and I wanted to see how much money I had because I've been using it for years and years and haven't redeemed it. I have $613.
What?
Through Honey. Yeah.
No shot. You have that much? How much do I have? I didn't know you could look like that.
Yeah. You can see your rewards balance with how much money it saves you. Obviously, that's not showing the coupons it saves you, or it helps you with money on their end. But yeah, as a person who loves to save money on literally everything,
dude, that is awesome.
Just download Honey and use it. It is the easiest thing in the world. It is one of the laziest things in the world too. You don't have to do anything. You literally go to the checkout page, you click at the top right, it shows you all the coupons, it scans the whole internet for coupons, and it saves you money on literally all of your purchases. Or on stores that accept Honey and all that stuff.
All that kind of stuff. And it is a lot.
It is literally OP. Yeah, I mean, there's only a few websites I think that don't accept it, but the vast majority
you don't need them
accept
anyways.
Honey.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you don't need them. And here's the thing: I actually didn't know this. Honey doesn't just work on desktops; it works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. So if you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting us here on the Backliners. So get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/backliners. That's joinhoney.com/backliners. Big shout out to Honey. Super happy to have them working with us on the show.
Again, big penny pincher, and I'm a huge fan of Honey.
Yep.
Very easy.
Yep. Very, very easy indeed. Okay, let's move on to the top 2 teams before we head on over to Martikoras. The Go to Gladiators, Dudeman Bro 429, Inbound, Snoopy, Kierme, Scary D, and Kassir as their coach. This team, obviously one of the big 3 that everyone is kind of ready to potentially crown as an SPL team. This team definitely seems pretty SPL ready to me. My question marks, because I think that there isn't a whole lot of... we all know that this team is good enough to qualify to the SPL. It's not a matter of if. If things go wrong for this team, I think the first thing that I'm going to be looking for when I watch the Gilded Gladiators play tomorrow, how does their front line look? Because Inbound hasn't played at a high level since being dropped by the Scarabs. I know there are a lot of Bobby haters out there. What was he ready right away for the SPL? Probably not. Did he, even throughout his SPL stint, have some pretty rough stretches? Yes, he did. I also don't think he was always surrounded by the most talent and the most stable rosters. And I think that Inbound did show clear improvement at times during his career. And I don't think it is fair to say that Inbound cannot be an SPL level support. I think he very clearly can be. And I think that a lot of people just assume that because he was on a bad team for 2 years or whatever it may be, that is not the case.
He got branded.
Yeah, he got branded. I don't think it's particularly fair. I'm excited to see what he does on this team. I think honestly, the bigger question mark to me is Scary D than Inbound. Like, Scary had a much rougher, more recent performance than Inbound did. If I'm looking at this team, the first thing I'm doing, first of all, if I'm playing the Gilded Gladiators, you know where I'm showing up? Solo lane. Because Scary looked like the most gankable player on the planet in his last appearance. Scary is obviously has the potential to be a top tier player. Has in the past, but got to show it, and this is a good opportunity to do so. In the SPL qualifying tournament, you cannot afford to not be like, you have to do what Ducky did today in order to make people think that you are ready to be
that guy.
You have to be very clearly diffing your opponent, and that's what I'm going to be looking for from Scary tomorrow.
Yeah, I completely agree. Especially, I mean, you touched on it earlier, but his most recent performance. I mean, I'm pretty sure me and Agro are both huge Scary D fans.
Yeah, love running.
And his most recent performance was just bad.
Real bad.
Like, I love Scary, but that was some of the worst Smite I've seen him play in a very long time.
Or anyone, for that matter.
Like, he was... Like, his cap is so astronomically high.
Yep.
And to watch him play, like, I don't know if it was just, like, doesn't care or just, like, was trying to do too much. I don't know. It was just weird. But yeah, I think the big thing for this team is their front line as well. Kind of how Kierme, Inbound, and Scary are going to work together, because I don't know if they've ever worked together in the past.
They have not. Almost, I'm 99% sure.
Yeah, maybe Bobby and Scary did on Scarabs, but I can't remember.
Oh yeah, maybe they did. That's that one.
I can't remember what the timeline of Scarabs changes are anymore.
Yeah, Scary played with Bobby almost certainly.
Okay.
Almost certainly, actually.
Yeah, and then Kierme should be able to slot in well.
Yeah.
I do think Snoopy will be pretty good in this meta, where it's like a free farming mid meta. At least it seems to be that way from the other teams. Snoopy can jam his dent if he needs to, but I don't know if he will. I do think Kierme and Inbound will be able to facilitate Dubambro and Snoopy pretty well. Yeah, my question mark is just Scary for this, but not even like a bad way, because I'm still such a fan of Scary.
He could show up and be the best solo laner this whole week.
Yeah,
he could.
I just want to see him play well. Like I know he can, and I just want to see him play well.
I'm rooting for him, no doubt about it. Also worth noting that Kierme had a particularly underwhelming performance in the Worlds qualifier. So that the same spot that we're criticizing Scary D, Kierme also did not look very good. So big redemption week.
Triple redemption for this front line.
Yep, triple redemption front line should be interesting to watch here for the Gilded Gladiators. And then last but literally not least, Stuart, Gamma, Erupt Crimson, Sam for Soccer, Aquarius, and Neilma as the coach. That is your Niflheim Wargs. For my money, Barra, it is not. We say it's a 3-team race.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah,
it is a 2.5 team race, counting the Scorpions as like right on the cusp for one spot. The Niflheim Wargs are, in my opinion, far and away the best team in this tournament.
Yep.
If they don't win, like I don't think that they. I would not be surprised if they had some close games or sets against the Gladiators or Hounds. But if this team does not qualify, I would categorize it as a. I would categorize it as a choke. I would. It has to. It has to.
I agree. I mean, you have Sam, who in my opinion was looking really good on the last iteration of Bugs.
Yep.
And I think Stu, I mean, he literally just came off of Worlds Finals. Unfortunately, that just worked out this way where this is the team that he's on. But, I mean, on paper, I completely agree with you. I don't see a world where this team does not qualify. Like, across the board, I think that they have all been playing well. Especially, I mean, Crimson. I think Crimson's been playing really well lately.
Yep. Crim's a beast.
Every time I've seen him play, I think he's been playing well. Aqua as well has been playing good. Gamma has been playing well. I mean, Gamma really cranked it up in last year going forward to Fall Split. I think he just got better as the year went on. I mean, obviously he had a few bad games here and there, but literally everyone does. Doesn't really matter.
Yep.
This team is auto qualify.
Has to.
I genuinely cannot see a world where they don't qualify.
They have the best. They have the 2 best players in the tournament, undisputed. Sam and Stewart are the 2 best players in this tournament. Yep. I won't hear an argument otherwise. I think they are probably the best individually in all 5 of their roles. In this tournament, maybe you could make an argument for Benny over Krim.
I think mid with Snoopy, Krim, and Benny is pretty close.
Yeah, I can see that. But
I didn't get to see Streak Up earlier, but I mean, I've heard Streak Up's a beast.
He's a really good player. I don't think I can put him in the top mid lane with him. This is his first tournament in that role. This is the team that should be qualifying, guaranteed. I'd be very confident betting on the Wargs for sure. With that in mind, now that we've gone over all 10, we're both saying the Wargs are going to make it. Who is the second team that joins the SPL this year?
Hounds.
I'm going Gladiators. I'm saying, well, yeah, I'm going Gladiators.
Mine's a complete shot in the dark. So
flip it. It's a flip between those 2 teams for me. It really is.
Yeah, I genuinely have no idea who the other team. I feel like it could be 4 or 5 different teams, or even more.
I don't think it can be that many. I think it can only be. I think the Wargs have a spot guaranteed. I think the only 3 teams that can make that last spot are Gladiators, Hounds, and Scorpions. That's my opinion, but we shall see. Okay, because we are right up against the time that I wanted to hit, I'm going to ask you real quick. Give me your Martikaros feels. We're not going to go over the whole kit. If you want it, you can go to the 10.2 update notes on the Smite Game website. How did your first few Martikaros games feel?
Yeah, I played him for about... Honestly, I think I played way more than I thought I did. I played him for about 3 or 4 hours today. A lot of fun. I absolutely love this character. I don't know if he'll be that sick and competitive, but it just kind of fits my style of immobile damage dealer. I tried crit, felt good. Ability build felt really good as well, but I did get fed that game. But it kind of felt like old AMC, where if I just hit a button, they're dead. The ult feels really good. Kind of hard to hit sometimes. Kind of
Harder than it
unreliable.
looks. Harder than it looks.
Yeah, it's weird because you have to like lead it, but if you lead it too much and they just turn around, you wasted like 3 shots. It's like an on her ult from like above. Um, but yeah, it feels really good to react to because it's I don't know if it's instant, but it feels instant.
It's
Like
real
in
quick.
yeah, it kind of feels like Frail, where if I just need to get out, I can get out.
Yep.
Um, the hiding in the grass or bushes, I don't know what it's called, probably grass. That feels so fun. That is like one of the most fun things in Smite to me right now is just building ability base, sitting in a bush somewhere and just ambushing people. I did that probably like 20 times a day.
Uh-huh.
So fun. Very unpredictable too. Also, playing with it around objectives is really fun as well. You can just like hide your jungler, hide your support.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's a really fun button. The root feels really strong. That might get
Uh-huh.
nerfed a little bit, but it's probably just a mixture of like I'm really good at hitting buttons, and people just aren't expecting to get rooted. So
Sure.
it might be like a player thing plus a god thing, the
Yeah.
mixture together.
The
It's like an
first
Artemis trap thing.
the first playtest where I realized the 2 was an auto attack reset, like opened my eyes to a whole new world where I could sit in the bush, auto 2 auto 1 someone.
And
I
they're
was
dead.
like, "Oh man. I don't have to lead with the 2." Like I was leading with the 2 and I was like, "I get a full basic in here," and that because his basics hit super hard. Um Especially I really love the poison basic attack mechanic.
Yep.
I think it feel poor Lermy, dude. Lermy had to do back-to-back hunters with Ishtar into Martikaros, and I feel like Hunter. I haven't designed a Hunter yet, but I feel like Hunter is one of the hardest classes to make feel new and
No,
unique
I
because
I think
they just hold left click, right? Like that's all they. At the end of
yeah.
the day, they left click. And so I think Lermy, especially like going back to back, is so hard on the same class. And man, I think she killed it. Obviously, Ishtar is like super popular and super fun and did a great job there. But I think she definitely deserves extra credit for having to go back to back in that way.
Oh yeah, the
Which is really
design of
hard.
both of them is really good. I mean, Ishtar is probably more. I don't know if generic is the right word to say it, but like more
Traditional,
huntery. Yeah,
traditional.
traditional. And I'm just gonna call him Marty.
Yeah, that's all.
Definitely
I've always called
feels.
him Marty.
Yeah, it just feels just fun. Like I love immobile kits like that, and being immobile, being able to hide in grass, being able to surprise people, and just kind of make your opponent think a lot more about like the situations they're gonna have to play into is so fun. Also, that one is you cannot zone this guy.
Nope.
He can cast that from a mile away and reach a mile that way.
Yep.
Like, I don't think you can zone that guy in comp. Like, it is so crazy.
Yep. Long range for sure. Very cool.
Yeah, that might get nerfed slightly, but we'll see.
Hey, hard for us to nerf range sometimes. So
That is true.
that could certainly help. Yeah, play Marty. Super fun. Kudos to Laramie. She killed it as always. All right, before we move on to our random question of the week, which of course we're grabbing from our Patreon Discord, which you can access by going to patreon.com/backliners. We have one more sponsor to tell you about, and it is from our friends at BetterHelp. So this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We talk pretty substantially all the time about how big of advocates Bera and I are for finding a therapist that works for you and just having someone in your life who is an expert on how the human brain works in order to help you go through this very fun, not all the time fun ride that is life. Dude, my therapy is normally Wednesday mornings because my in-laws are still here until this morning. I moved it to tomorrow, and I'm like literally
Oh,
jonesing for Thursday
we're,
morning therapy.
we're therapy buddies. Mine's tomorrow morning too.
Let's go. We're gonna be working on our brains together, but separately, but
Yeah.
together. We're just across the brain. It's almost 9 o'clock. My brain.
Yeah, I actually signed up for BetterHelp too, just because I wanted. I wanted to do it online this time
Mm-hmm.
and over video, I guess. I didn't want to do it in person, and prices kind of BetterHelp is like way cheaper than in-person therapy
Mm-hmm.
from the prices I was looking up. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna try out BetterHelp
And how
for
was the
sure.
user experience here, Barra? Because
Oh yeah.
they tell us here that it's easy and flexible, and they make it it's a difficult process that they make a little simpler. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, extremely easy. And also, I got my therapist in under 24 hours, and they say 24 to 48, so they're working
Mm.
faster than usual. Yeah, really excited to try it out. I liked all the questions they were asking me, and I also liked the introduction that she gave me about herself and the introduction. I don't want to go into like too far
Sure. Yeah. Of
detail
course.
like
Of
my
course.
stuff, but yeah, she just seemed really nice, and I like nice people, so you
Hey,
know.
I'm glad. I'm glad that it's working out for you, and that we're gonna be therapy bros tomorrow morning. So, if you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/backliners today to get 10% off your first month. Hope you're enjoying that 10% off there for your first month.
All right.
That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/backliners. Big thanks to BetterHelp as always. Okay, like I said, going to our community Discord, which again you can access by going to patreon.com/backliners for our random question of the week. Timmy wants to know, think like Pokemon or Naruto summoning jutsu, but real animals. This animal could be for fighting, daily tasks, travel, party trick, etc. What animal would you choose and why?
I would choose a ferret.
And why?
For a daily task and just for well, it says fighting, daily tasks, travel, and party tricks. So I'm choosing daily tasks and party tricks.
Right, but
I don't
what does
know.
a ferret do for daily tasks?
I don't know. Bring me stuff. It would just be cute, okay? I would just want a connection with a ferret. I wanted a ferret for like 15 years, and
Dude,
I've been
I
getting
also
like a
kind of wanted a ferret, and then I looked into it, and everyone said they smell really bad, and I didn't want it anymore.
what?
Yeah,
They don't
they
clean themselves?
no. Apparently, they smell really bad.
Yeah,
Maybe that's cap. Maybe the internet's lying, and it was written by a ferret hater.
yeah. Well, wait, is it like casting spells, like Pokemon spells?
I think it would listen to you and be able to do more than a default ferret. So maybe you could tell it to go take a bath. Like go wash off. You know?
Oh wait, like having like a primate would be pretty cool. I don't know how big I would want.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of the different. Like a gorilla would definitely be way too big.
way too big. It would be
May-
huge.
And then spider monkey's like probably way too small.
Yeah,
Like
probably. You
what's
get like a
is
howler
it
monkey. I feel like they're like a nice size.
howler monkey? Yeah, I would want like a normal sized monkey.
I feel like that's.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I mean,
that
they're just so
howler.
cute.
I would not want a howler monkey. Those things are terrifying.
Yeah, they're really scary though. You gotta watch it, but they'd be
Yeah,
nice to you. You know?
yeah. I want a normal monkey actually.
Okay.
I don't know what they're called, but like a
Default.
standard monkey.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
default monkey. Give the default skin.
They're just they're so yeah. It would be kind of OP, huh? They're so cute. Literally, my first thought. Barry, you probably experience this with your cats. There are times, just like with humans, your relationship with your pets like kind of ebbs and flows in a very healthy way. Where like sometimes you spend a lot of time together, sometimes you don't. My dog Mackenzie has been really, really like affectionate and cuddly recently, and I'm in just a honeymoon period with my dog. And so my first thought was, I don't want any animal besides my dog. Like she's just like the
Yeah.
best. But obviously, like it would be. She doesn't do very many daily tasks very well, except for make my day. So I would say
That was a good task.
it is. I've always loved otters. Not like
Oh,
Taco's got the otter like love like market really cornered. She definitely likes otters more than I do, but otters are really cute. And they open things in cute ways. So I would want an otter to just like open stuff in a cute way for me on their belly.
That would be adorable, actually.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what I'm doing.
That's a good task. Like you throw it at like a jar of pickles and it just pops it.
Yep.
I'd like that.
Master Zahir asked, Bera, if you could rework one hunter, what would you do and why?
I would change Ularax back to the old one.
Oh my god, this guy.
I loved old Ularax, bro.
God, this
I
guy.
loved it. I mean, besides that, I feel like...
I thought for sure you were going to say, give Hachiman back the Insta-Dash off the horse.
Oh. Well, that would be really nice. But I still enjoy playing Hachi. I don't enjoy playing Uller. Every time I miss an axe, I'm just like, bruh, I would have hit the old one.
Yeah, but how about all the axes you hit that you would have missed?
I don't count those. I would have hit it on both.
Masters here also asked if we had any good stories about that weird neighbor every neighborhood seems to have.
I had a weird neighbor at my old house.
You did. I knew that this was like a... We don't have nearly... We could start with the podcast with this question and you wouldn't be able to get through this whole neighbor story, I feel like. That guy, that person was so weird.
TLDR, this guy would sit on his back porch with his chair facing my way, drink a beer, and watch me mow the lawn.
That is so weird, man.
Yep. That's my story.
Oh, that's really good. Here's the thing about my story is that I'm the weird neighbor in this scenario.
Oh, no. You're watching me mow the lawn.
I'm watching Bera mow the lawn. I'm really enjoying myself. No, when we first moved in, I was just talking about how much I love my dog and how sweet she is. This is a story that doesn't paint her in the best light. We had just gotten our fence put in, so it was actually a couple months after we'd moved in. But it's our first house, and my dog, there was a rabbit inside our fence. My dog, who is a mini golden doodle, caught it, held it in its mouth. The rabbit had a heart attack and died in her mouth. She killed a rabbit, is what I'm trying to say.
What?
This was at like 4:30 in the morning because it was when Joe let her out in the morning before she went to school. I wake up to a text from my wife saying, your dog has murdered a rabbit in our yard. I didn't have time to deal with it. You must handle this corpse.
Oh, gosh.
I go out there with some gardening gloves and a plastic bag, expecting for a little tiny bunny. You know what I mean? This thing was not a little tiny bunny. It was a rabbit, okay? It was like...
Wait, how many pounds?
It was probably like at least 15 pounds, if I had to guess.
What?
It was big. Wait, hold on. Is that how big rabbits get? Hold on, let me look.
I don't know. That sounds like a massive rabbit, though.
It was big. Okay, no, it couldn't have been 15 pounds. That would be literally the biggest rabbit that's ever existed. She found the world's biggest rabbit and took it out. No. Could there not be a better... Bro, I'm not looking for like a bunny. I feel like these are all bunnies, you know? Bunnies and rabbits I know are not just like size. It's not like whatever.
This is like a fish story, but with the rabbit.
Yeah, exactly. But this thing was heavy, okay? It was longer like than my shoulder width apart.
What?
It was big, okay? So I went out there with these gardening gloves in a plastic bag and I was like, bruh, like I definitely cannot get this in. I don't know what my plan was even. I was going to like flip it into the bag and then I don't know what I was going to do with it after that. So then I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. But we don't have a shovel for me to like pick it up with because we just moved in into our first house. So I go to my neighbor. It's 8 a.m., but he's really old. So he's up, you know, like old people. So I knock on his door. He comes out and I'm like, hey, could I borrow a shovel? There's like a dead rabbit in my yard. Well, I didn't say that. I was like, can I borrow a shovel? But it's 8 a.m. and he kind of gives me a weird look. I'm like, oh, we found like a dead rabbit in our yard. And he was like, oh, what do you think happened? And I didn't want to tell him that it was my dog because, you know, I don't want him to like think that she's like some vicious like creature. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I don't know. Like it was just there when we woke up. And he was like, oh, you think it was a coyote? And I was like, yeah, probably. So he gives me the shovel. And so I go out there and I pick it up. And then I don't really know what to do with it because I'm not going to like bury it, you know, like that seems like too much. I'm not going for all that.
Yeah, it's just a rabbit.
So I just freaking yeet it into the woods, like
no,
you know, just leave it there. But then I return the shovel, and so I was the weird neighbor. I asked for a shovel to bury a dead rabbit at 8 a.m. On a weekday. That's me.
Wow.
Anyways, Jamie Man wants to know, if you could, what kind of team logo and name would you add to the SEC/SPL? For example, J-Man thinks a Hydra's team theme could be sick.
Probably a rabbit after the one.
Yeah, my dog, and it's just her with a big rabbit in her mouth. Okay, well, I thought that she'd like bit it, but I went out there and I like once I had the shovel, I like flipped it over and I was like looking for like blood and there was no blood and I was like, oh, okay, she must have like broken its neck. And so I like pick it up, but I have it so the head's like dangling off the edge of the shovel, but it isn't moving. So the neck wasn't broken. So then I was super confused. And then I asked my friend who's a vet and she was like, yeah, rabbits just like do that. They just like get too scared and die. And so that's what happened.
Wow.
So yeah, it would be a cardiac arrest rabbit.
Yeah, I would go with like a fish one. For some reason, right when I read this question, it took me back to the what's that? Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh,
and they had a team
yeah.
called the Blue Barracudas.
The Blue Barracudas.
And
yep.
yeah, that was a really good show for all
Unbelievable
the 30-year-olds
show
in chat.
Dude, my older sister and I used to make obstacle courses in our backyard and then name them like Legends of the Hidden Temple obstacles and like play Legends of the Hidden Temple in our backyard. It was, bro, why aren't they just bringing back Legends of the Hidden Temple on Netflix?
Yeah.
Bro, make an adult version of Legends of the Hidden Temple on Netflix. Everyone would watch it.
It would be good. It would be very good.
Barra, let's do it.
Dude,
Georgia's got a ton of abandoned homes. Like we could set up an easy Legend of the Hidden Temple set.
True. There's one called the Shrine of the Silver Monkey. Like how sick is that?
Bro, how did they always get it wrong, Barra? They struggled in the Shrine of the Silver Monkey every time. It's 3 pieces, bro. You just put it together and it's facing the camera. Face the camera. Like they always put it backwards and then they were trying to put the head on like after the free. Bro,
you would
turn it around. On God, though, if one of those like warriors jumped out, the ones that would scare you, and you had to give them the talisman to like keep going, like those dudes would scare me so bad. Like that was
those
scary.
Were terrifying.
Those dudes were legitimately scary. Like I believe it.
I completely agree.
Yes, dude. Prediction. The Prediction Esports account in chat said prediction will 100% back the production on this. It is a guaranteed hit. It is a guaranteed hit. There is no way that doesn't go crazy. There's no way.
Right.
It's literally a slam dunk. How has it not been done? There must be something that's stopping it from being done because it's so like I'm not a genius in any way, as referenced by my earlier ad read. Someone must have tried this and there was some legal reason they couldn't.
Let me look it up real quick. Hidden Temple remake. Let's see if it was ever remade. Wait, there's a 2021, 2022.
What?
What? Yeah. What? I said it in chat. Legend of the Hidden Temple, 2021, 2022. Did it just die?
What happened?
I don't know. A reboot of the classic Nickelodeon adventure show.
Okay, I gotta watch this and see what went wrong.
Apparently, they did it wrong. Okay,
we would have done it right,
CW.
though.
Yeah.
Oh, we would have done it right.
This has to just be bad.
It's a guaranteed slam dunk. It can't be bad. Us finding it. This had to be bad.
If you mess this up, you
may. This is just a layup. This is a choke on a level that we've never seen before. That's getting reverse swept and then some for sure. Okay, well, thanks everyone. Didn't quite hit my target goal, but I got a little carried away talking about the rabbit. That's how it be. We take. We'll be back next week talking about who wins the SPL play-in tournament. Make sure you're watching all week. It has already begun, so make sure you're tuning in. We'll be back on Tuesday talking about that. We'll also go over patch notes a little bit more in depth outside of just Martika Ross.
Yep.
So it should be a pretty good podcast episode. Until then, check out Predictions Other Shows. Check out all our sponsors, patreon.com/backliners, all that kind of good stuff. Until then, Barra, you know what to do.
Bye.
Oh, yeah, that's clean right there.
Thank you. Slightly sore throat, still killed it. I was thinking about cacawing, but I figured I'd go back to the tradition.
I am so glad you didn't.
Thank you. That's just toxic, man.